Morning, everybody. Welcome to Lockpod Midwest, most dangerous podcast.
Season 10, episode 2. I was thinking maybe we should change to season X.
I like that.
Instead of like, you know,
What?
you could do like
Roman
Elon.
numerals? I got
Yeah,
you.
just like, you know, like Elon Musk changed from Twitter to X. We'll change to
I
season
refuse
X.
to call it X.
I do too.
I haven't been on it since they locked me out of my account.
That's why.
Fuck X.
I still like it.
Hey, Linz.
Hello.
Oh, that voice. Hearing that voice.
Notorious LMP is back in studio.
Hi, guys.
What's up?
It's still real early.
Yeah, but you couldn't stay away.
Nope, I had you guys just keep dragging me back in.
We're not
Just a
dragging.
big
we were
black
dragging.
No, we were
You dragged
good.
yourself.
I came
We
here
wanted
on
to
my
make
own
it clear.
accord.
Lindsay wants to make it sound like we forced her to be in the studio. She called us up. She's like, "Hey, I'm back on Fridays, right?"
I was happy to hear that, actually.
I was
Missed you
too.
guys.
I know. So
Oh my god, guys!
I don't want
give
this-
me my dose of attention, please.
I don't want this this reputation out there. We're dragging you into the studio. So
Well, I'm gonna keep hounding.
Your legion of fandoms of the fandom of the notorious LMP are happy
Legion
this
of
morning.
Dozens.
The Legion of LMPers, yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Legion
all
of
ladies.
Dozens.
Everybody's been asking me. All these women that listen to our podcast have been like, "You need to get back on."
There's dozens of
It's
people
turning
across
into
America
a
happy
frat.
right now.
What did you say?
Dozens of people are like
There's dozens of us.
one
Dozens.
of them is in Utah.
John, show off that new haircut of the notorious
Yeah.
LMP. Look
Oh,
at
they
that.
already saw it, but these headphones make it look weird.
Yeah.
The shortcut.
Yeah.
Shortcut.
To the side.
Hey, season 10, episode 2 is brought to you by Tortillas Nuevo Leon, who sets the gold standard in Mexican cuisine across the Midwest. Look for their iconic red and white label at your local grocery store. Indulge in the finest Mexican products crafted with local expertise and savor the taste of authenticity. Discover the flavors at Tortillas Nuevo Leon today.
And we get to see Lindsay dance. This is
Tortillas
great.
Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia, de todo corazón.
That alone is worth getting you back, Linz.
Oh, thank you. My dance moves, all 4 of them.
Hey, man, something crazy happened to Kevin and me last night.
What?
Oh, yeah.
We were doing pre-show,
Mm-hmm.
and we went to our Old Faithful.
We're about to
Barbecue.
do pre-show.
True.
True
Yeah.
Barbecue.
True Barbecue.
Delicious.
Former sponsor.
Closed.
True Barbecue.
Former sponsor.
Formerly open.
Yeah, formerly open. True Barbecue. Closed. So we
Like,
were,
as in, like
stunned.
closed and like there was a dumpster out there.
Dumpster. It wasn't not on fire, but it was.
No, it's not a dumpster fire yet,
What
but
the-
it was. I was like, what?
Dude, I knew a long time ago they were closing, Kevin. You know how?
Tell me.
They changed their pickles.
They did
Oh,
change their
no.
pickles.
Once you change.
And by the way, Tom pointed it out. He's like,
As soon
hey,
as I ate it.
what's up with these pigs? He's like, hey, would you guys change your pickles? And they're like,
What?
yeah.
Yeah. We changed our pickles. We went to lower
And the
cost.
chips. And the chips. Which are like their
Pickles
little
and
like.
chips. That
here's
was their
some-
thing.
Yeah, they put them on the table for
And they
you
were
to
great.
nibble. They were awesome.
We ate the crap out of those
Always.
things. Every time we went there, we're like pickles and chips.
Sometimes we're
couple
like, maybe
drinks.
take it easy on the chips tonight.
Right. Yeah, because we ate so many.
Yep.
And then a couple drinks, and then dinner, right?
thing you know- yeah,
While
I mean,
we're doing the show,
Probably
which is
$80, $100 tab every time we were there. 60,
every time,
right? You
every
know,
time.
Sure.
We would go in there. We were like consistent about it. We
Twice
did
a
it
week.
before every show, and then we go in there one time, Linz.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking change the pickles.
You know, if you're
Like
gonna,
lower
I haven't
cost
been back
pickle.
since.
Like, if you're gonna
I
change-
knew
if you're
I
gonna-
knew there was something
if
going
you're gonna
on.
chintz on the pickles,
Right.
I think that's a sign of your,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Well, you
pickles and
guys-
chips. We're gonna cut back on the pickles and chips. It's
Or
getting
like-
a little out of control.
Like
with
you
the
said,
cost.
why change a good thing? Like what you got a place.
Well, they did buy a new owner group took it, right?
yeah.
They buy a successful restaurant, and what's the first order of business? Change the pickles.
Change the best part
Then
about
close.
Then close because your regulars who like the pickles don't come back.
Dude, I was like, these pickles blow. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with these pickles or chips. So, like, they took one of the whole early, that we ordered multiple drinks eating those chips and pickles.
And I think it goes to show you because they do have like a hospital right there, the 2 hotels right there,
Yeah.
which they get like one-off business, right?
Right.
Like, oh, I'm here for the night.
For sure.
I'll go there. But the regulars, the ones that like the original pickles and chips, are the ones that keep you going.
Wait, are you guys talking about like dill spears? Or
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No,
No, they're
they're like
sweet.
the little medallions.
Little, yes,
Oh.
exactly. Yeah, the little
$quarter.
Yes.
I don't even like sweet pickles.
Silver
Yeah.
dollar.
But these sweet pickles I
They've
liked.
been marinated. Yeah,
They're good.
They were like sweet and sour. Or
So
something
what,
like, that.
like-
butter chips or
I don't
something.
get it, man. When you're like buying a business, like this business is successful. They're like, I want to buy this business. Then you buy it and you're like, I want to fucking change everything now, right? I want to cut back on everything so that everything tastes like crap now. So you buy a business, and within a couple months, you alienate all the customers that have been going there for years.
And we like those guys. I couldn't figure out why they did that. I mean, it's like,
Well,
Isn't there still
the
one
pickles.
open in Griffith?
and Crown Point.
No, they shut that one.
The Crown Point one's down?
Okay, hold on.
There's
let me
one
do
in
this.
Griffith, yeah.
They shut the one in Crown Point.
Lindsay,
The
can
one
you
in
report
Griffith
back?
is still open.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think that's the only
I
one
drove
that's
by
open
it the
now.
other day. Feel
Which
free
is
to stop
shocking, by the
way.
way. Crown Point wasn't open that long.
No. Are they coming back with a new?
I
Is
don't
it
know.
same ownership?
Well,
group?
I think the true that we're talking about, the one we go
Munster.
to, is opening as an Italian restaurant.
Okay.
Soon. Okay.
right.
Hey,
So
we'll have to check that out. I
no,
love Italian.
no sweet pickles there.
No pickles in an Italian restaurant. No.
But I don't get it though, like because a local Mexican restaurant that I went to that I really thought was like one of the better in the region. Okay, same ownership group, by the way, and I'm not trying to pick on this ownership group, right? But it's like really good Mexican restaurant. Like it was a new one, and it hit the scene, and it was freaking great. And then Marissa and I went back there like a month ago. They changed everything.
Uh-oh.
Wait,
It's
what
like
city
everything
is this
tastes.
in?
It's in Highland. Everything
And-
tastes different, and it's like what the.
Well, I think you're hurting your. I think you're. If you start doing stuff like that, it's going at your regulars, and your regulars, I think, are what's
Yeah.
sustain you.
Like Marissa and I would literally go out of our way to go to this particular Mexican restaurant, and it's not the one in Griffith, by the way. It's not the one on 45th because I love that one, and I don't want them to think I'm talking. It's the one on the Boulevard, okay, in Highland.
Yeah.
I love that one, Grand,
Yeah.
whatever it's called. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yes.
And they change everything, dude. Everything
Yeah,
tastes different. It's like what the hell? This new group takes over. They change all the taste of everything, and it tastes worse.
I wonder, and true, if it was business related, because I mean, though it would be busy. It was busy in
Did
there.
they just buy it for the location? I mean, if they close it and change the whole name and
They had that outdoor patio. Anyway.
I think True was. I
That
think it was
outdoor
good.
patio.
Yeah,
was
I liked
beautiful.
it. Oh, you loved it. You loved the chicken there. You
Yeah,
got
man.
the chicken every
no,
time.
I mean, but
The
Barbecue
salmon
sauce.
salad. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
but like
Great
it did have
Cobb
high
salad was
overhead.
Good. Yeah.
It's really pretty, and it seems
Yeah.
like it was expensive to build,
Yeah.
right? So
And their
I'm sure
prices
the
weren't too astronomical.
right.
for
So
it.
I'm sure that they're like operating close anyway, right?
Yep. All right. Well, so
Rip
be it.
True.
Although I'll tell you this,
Rip
we did.
True.
We did. We did.
You guys could come hang out with me. We could go to the Griffith one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
someone in chat just said Griffith's closing too.
Oh
What?
wow.
They
It just
heard.
Maybe the
opened.
whole group.
True. Rip True.
Rip.
We did hang at a good place though last night. It was busy.
Yeah. Danny's East.
Danny's
Where'd
East
you
was
go?
hopping.
Hopping. And by the way, give us a big table because we needed it because we're working.
Thank you.
Gave us a
Danny's
big
East.
table. You know.
Great service.
All
and
the pickles
and
you
a
can
real
eat.
and by the way, the way they have their outdoor patio there, like
Yeah,
we both commented,
it's
it's really
nice.
nice because even though it's like right against the parking lot,
It is literally
You
in a
don't
parking
feel
lot.
like that.
Right. They segregate it so that it's like there's a wall around it. It feels like you're in a. It looks like my brother's backyard.
there you go.
It's
Yep.
like you're in a backyard with like a. It's really nice.
So
How do you guys feel about Danny's East for a first date?
I'd say yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Solid. That wasn't our first.
You know,
We've been there a few times.
it wasn't Tom and
We've
my
been there a
first
few
date.
times. We've been there a few times. For
They've
free
been in
show.
a long-term relationship.
I mean-
for
I
a while now.
Right.
They've got all the games on and stuff. Good, nice atmosphere, busy, so it's not like it's quiet.
How's
if
the
you're-
ambiance in there?
I mean, it's
Nobody's
not like,
messing with us.
not
which is nice.
romantic, but it's just it's a sports bar, you know.
Like,
Okay.
Not a
this is getting
sports
little
bar. It's
carried
a-
away.
Kevin's like, I could have used a little bit more
Family-
candlelight.
Yeah.
Seriously.
no, I was going back to the first date.
Usually
thing.
we're sitting right next to each other.
Can we sit on the same side of this booth?
Hey, I got a dilemma. Can you guys help me out with something?
Yeah.
It's with Marissa,
Okay.
which means I'm going to get in
Take her to
trouble.
Danny's
This
East.
is tough.
No, no.
Are we sure you
I
want to
will
talk
take her
about
to
this on
Danny.
the air?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Because she was throwing something at me the other day, and I was like, "What?"
All right.
I called BS on it, and she
Oh.
was like, "What?" Like I
Throwing
can't
some
believe
shade
it.
on Marissa.
No,
I
okay, because like
refuse.
Marissa's a proud Pole, right?
Absolutely. She
You
just
know?
got back from Poland.
She just got back from Poland. She's got a Polish family. And she's learning how to speak Polish.
She went to
like-
your motherland and then her motherland.
Yeah, right.
One trip.
So, Marissa's real good friend is a fellow Pole, Louisa. Louisa and Marissa are like, Louisa helped Marissa find her Polish family. So
Wow.
Louisa holds a special place in Marissa's heart.
For
okay?
sure. Plus, she's a
And-
sweetheart.
And she's a sweetheart. And Louisa is a proud Pole also. Okay. So Louisa calls Marissa and says, "Hey, there's this Polish pilgrimage. I'd like you to participate with me."
Poles are big on pilgrimage.
Yeah,
I've
right?
noticed.
What's a pilgrimage? It's like painful a little bit, right?
Sure,
No,
I
you
mean,
go
you're
back
taking
to
up-
the homeland.
Taking well, no, I mean even like they do the pilgrimage from Chicago to Munster.
Right.
It's
It's like
stop in
30
Hammond.
miles, stop in
Walk.
Hammond, stop in Harrison
it's
Park.
overnight. They camp.
Yeah, they camp
Oh.
out.
Oh, is
It's
it like
they walk.
They
every
walk.
year. Every year,
Oh.
it's you always see it's like late
It's
July,
like 20 some miles, I think, or 30
late
miles.
July, early August. There's a
Yes.
bunch of people who walk through Hammond. Of course, we know about it, Linz, because we have to protect the crowd and they're going through the city, and then they end
Yeah.
up sleeping right there on Ridge Road in Munster.
Correct. At
And
the
then they walk
monastery,
back.
at the Polish monastery.
Or it's a one-way trip and they get Ubered back or whatever.
I don't
but like,
they don't walk back.
I don't see him
It's a
ever
one-way
walking back. I
pilgrimage,
think it's a
right?
one-way
We've
pilgrimage.
done our
But
miles.
still, it's a solid walk. So,
Absolutely.
like, whatever, right?
There's some pain in that. a little
Pilgrimage. And you're
sacrifice.
staying the night. You're camping.
Yeah.
Right? All right.
Camping's great.
So you've set
I
up what a
agree.
pilgrimage is.
But a pilgrimage is like there's some pain involved. I think that's where I'm coming
Sacrifice,
from.
right?
That's why they call it a pilgrimage. It's a
Sure.
bike ride if it's not a pilgrimage, right?
Well, they're not on bikes; they're
mean-
walking.
Well, this is going to be very important because as the facts unfold, you're
Oh,
going to
because
find out where
you
I'm coming
want to
from.
ride the bike.
No, check this out. So, like, Marissa's like, okay, I'm thinking about because she's like, hey, I'm going to be gone on a Sunday because I'm going to do a pilgrimage with Louisa. I'm like, oh, that's cool. You want to do it with me? No. I'm going to watch the Bears, right?
Right.
Okay, it's Sunday, Bears, Tackers. No, I'm going to watch my team get the shit kicked out of them. Little do I know at the time, right? But I'm like, no, hon, I'm going to be doing some Bears that day. And she's like, all right, I'm going to do this Paul's pilgrimage. I'm like, what is this pilgrimage? She says, it's a 30-mile bike ride. And I was like, wow.
That's
I was
solid.
like, honey, Tommy's got your bike. He used it for a bike ride in Chicago, and we got to get that bike from him if you're going to, like, do this pilgrimage. And
Sure.
she's like, no, I'm just going to use my e-bike.
Whoa.
And I'm like,
She's cheating.
e-bike? It's a pilgrimage. And she's like, no, I mean, it's a bike ride. And, and
mean,
I'm
it's-
like, you said it was a pilgrimage. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, you can't use a freaking e-bike on a pilgrimage, right? It's a freaking pilgrimage.
I mean, is it pilgrimage, like, does it inherently have sacrifice or just like a trip?
Yeah.
It's just like a
it's
journey.
it's not like a wham. It's not like a bike ride.
Well,
a
also,
pilgrimage.
I'm thinking pilgrimage, like going to Mecca, like you need to, like it's sacred in a way.
Yeah.
And
They're not
just
taking-
riding bikes from Chicago to Munster.
They're not
That's-
taking golf carts.
That's the
Yeah,
pilgrimage.
they're
Like,
not
So,
on
like-
like a what are those things? The
what's sacred? That just
the
seems like
segways. You're not taking a Segway on a pilgrimage, right?
So, like, if Christ had
That might be
had
the
an
title.
e-bike, could he do Stations of the Cross?
Yeah, Christ
his
would not
e-bike.
use the
Yeah.
e-bike.
E-bike.
Christ he's walking in sandals.
Veronica wiped
There's the title.
his brow, but it was on an e-bike.
Jesus
Right.
Christ on a Segway.
Christ would not use a Segway.
He was in sandals, like poorly made sandals too.
And a thorn and a crown of thorns,
Right.
amongst other
Right.
things.
No, this is back in the day, man. They're like pounding these sandals together by hand.
But why are they going from Chicago to like the North Mid? Or
It's just a pilgrimage. It's a long way.
yeah, but what's so sacred about it? Why are we calling it a pilgrimage? It just
Because
seems
that's
like
what
a
they
long
called it.
walk.
But like, if they're gonna call it a pilgrimage, you can't show up in a damn e-bike and
This
go
doesn't
30
even
miles
sound
an
like
hour,
a
right?
pilgrimage to me. Like, are they going to
Well,
like
I mean,
some
like,
shrine or something?
Maybe it
Yeah.
was like a fun ride or a.
It could have been a shrine. There's a shrine involved. I'm
That's
sure.
oh they do. That's what they do to Munster. There's a shrine.
Pilgrimage
Oh,
fun ride.
oh, that's the
It's a
pilgrimage.
pilgrimage and fun ride.
The Chicago Poles come over to Northwest
I
Indiana.
feel
to
like we're
see
getting
it.
off the subject. I'll be honest with you.
I feel like pilgrimage is the wrong word.
Do
Can we take a vote?
But like, it
Was
was,
it-
sold
was
to
it-
me as a pilgrimage.
It was.
Yes.
So that was the word that was used.
Pilgrimage.
Pilgrimage. All
Yeah,
right.
not
I think that's
bike
a very
ride.
specific word that Marissa used.
That's what she used. And do we all agree that if you use the word pilgrimage, you can't use an e-bike? Do we all agree
I'm
on
with
that?
Tom on that.
I
Thank
think
you.
usually.
I think
I-
she should be walking. I don't think anybody should be on a
Okay.
bike.
All right. So we're on the same page.
She shouldn't
like
even be allowed to
Lindsay's
use a
even,
bike.
Like, not
Yeah.
even anything.
She has
Thank
to
you.
walk barefoot.
Take that,
Barefoot.
Marissa. Take
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's
Crawl
right.
on
I was
your
right.
knees.
I
show
was right.
Your, yeah. Show
So
your
by
devotion.
definition, pilgrimage is a journey of a pilgrim, especially one to a shrine or a sacred place.
So there must have been a shrine
So it is
involved.
like a holy. Yeah, it's like so.
Oh, there's
why
a
are
shrine
you even
involved.
like? Why is Jesus didn't have bikes? Like,
Man, Lindsay's even going on
That's right.
Marissa. Jeez.
I I
And you
love
said you'd
Marissa,
never
but
throw
this just
shade on
you
sounds
got to
like
sweat.
a
You got to sweat on a
bike
pilgrimage.
ride, you
Yeah,
know?
you can't be
Yeah.
just
Someone's
cruising
got
on
to
an
stick
e-bike.
up for Marissa here. Kevin, can
All
you?
right.
I mean,
mean,
yeah. If everyone is
I-
on a bike, I say e-bike is fine.
If I'm fighting for Marissa on this and advocating for what I would say is that a pilgrimage, by definition, is a journey. It has nothing to do necessarily in how you get there. It's all about what you're thinking about on the way.
Oh, really? So you could just cruise through, like I could just ride my car, right?
Quick pilgrimage.
As long as I'm like contemplating it while I'm driving, that
I'm just trying to make the argument. for
like
the
a
judge.
pilgrimage is a long,
Well, I'm saying
long,
that if-
arduous journey.
It's a journey.
if
Right.
everyone is on a bike, if that's just the norm
Everybody's
in the
on a bike. It's a
situation, I
pilgrimage
don't see a
bike ride.
problem with her being on an e-bike.
Right, whatever. There you go.
But I think they
I'm
should
right.
all be walking.
You're in trouble.
I might-
Barefoot.
I think if this was a jury, I would carry the day on this one.
What
So,
kind? What's the shrine?
I don't know, Linz. I don't know that much about it. I'll be
Wait
honest
till
with you.
okay. So
Kevin seems
Lindsay
sure
or
there's a
Marissa
shrine
says, "Wait
involved.
till
Oh,
Lindsay
God.
hears about the Polish motorcycle pilgrimage."
I like that.
There you go.
Marissa's in chat. You're screwed.
Okay,
You
but
can have an
okay.
electric motorcycle.
So
with
if it's
that,
a
Marissa.
Polish pilgrimage
But defined by motorcycles, then you're okay.
motorcycle, and then you show up in a car, or like I got my Leaf
In a
e-car,
jet.
my electric car.
I
Is
have-
that cool?
Okay, this is an interesting point, Tom.
electric
Right.
motorcycle. That's
Well,
fine.
you guys got a motorcycle. I'm in my Chevy Volt, right? Like, is that
Hell
cool?
Yeah. I would say it's.
Well,
fine.
it's the same thing. Come on, man. It's a pilgrimage.
Walk your way.
Right.
This is a good point,
bike
though,
your
too,
way.
in chat. If
Oh,
Jesus
no.
had a bike, he would have used it. That's a good point.
Maybe.
Would he
Maybe
have?
not.
It would have been
I
a
don't
poorly
think
made
so.
bike.
Didn't he ride it on a donkey? Or something?
Yeah, but that was like Palm Sunday, right? That was.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, you use the mode of transportation you have access to.
Yeah, they had access to camels, and he chose a donkey because
All right.
Could have rode a camel.
We better stop.
All right,
We're
let's do
walking
some-
on thin ice. Like,
Stay away from religion.
Nothing better than talking about
No,
JC
that
and
never gets you in trouble.
modes of transportation. So
All right.
I'm going to start a pilgrimage 5K. I think that would be huge. Because
Hell
everyone's
yeah.
into, like, 5Ks and stuff.
the best part of that, John, it would be tax free. Everything you make is tax free.
Tax-
Will Marissa ride an e-bike in that?
Yeah,
That would be the question.
yeah, I like John's thinking though. You put together a huge 5K.
Yeah.
It's for the pilgrimage.
Yeah.
Tax free.
Boom.
Boom.
pure
But then
profit.
you got to give the money to.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of churches with pastors with super nice cars. So
That's
John
true.
could be putting on this annual pilgrimage and then just
John's going to
start a
start his
church,
own
John.
church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Church of Vez.
Would you guys attend?
Sure.
No,
Definitely
I would do the
not.
pilgrimage. Though. It
Yeah,
sounds
we
like
did
fun.
the 5K.
Sounds like fun.
I would protest your church, John.
All right, let's go ahead and do some ads, and we'll come back. We got some mailbag. We got interesting
we didn't
stories.
do mailbag last time.
And an update. I know we skipped it.
That's all right. We got it now.
We got an update on Todd Rokita.
One of our
with,
favorites.
Having to do with marijuana. Not really.
Two like big topics on Lockpod.
Yeah,
Todd
all
Rokita and
together.
marijuana.
Right, and then we're coming back to talk a little bit about 14th Amendment.
14th Amendment.
Believe it or not, this is going to be something we're all
That
going to learn
sounds
about.
so
Now that's
fun.
if that's not
Yeah.
a hook.
Woo! Stay with us. We can talk some constitutional law, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to have to do with Trump and stuff that we're going to be hearing a lot about in the
We're gonna
coming
try to
weeks.
make it interesting.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and start with Powering Indiana, Lake County, not Indiana. Lake County. That's right. IBEW Local 697 and NECA proudly introduce Powering Indiana Lake County, not Porter County,
Pow.
Lake County. With over a century of experience, they've been safely wiring Lake County, not Porter County.
The region.
From powering corporations along the lakefront to lighting up homes across the region, Powering Indiana
Pow.
Lake County is your trusted source for electrical professionals. Visit jacked697.org to join us as we continue to light the way for Northwest Indiana, particularly in Lake County.
Pow.
Misprint Printing. Elevate your brand with Misprint, the premier printing and sign solution in Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. With a 30-year legacy of excellence, their experienced team, led by Rick Baltensberger, combines innovation and technology to deliver top-quality signs and printing always on time and within budget. Visit them at misprintindiana.com to bring your vision to life today. Misprint, your partner for creating impactful visual solutions.
Cantrell and Cantrell, attorneys at law. When you're facing legal challenges or injuries, they're here to guide you through the process. Their dedicated team, including John and Kristen Cantrell, is in court and at the jail every day, ready to fight for your rights to party. Call John Cantrell at 219-554-4LAW or visit their website at bettercallcantrell.com. Discover how they can make a difference in your case.
Lindsay, you know all these ads were written by AI, by the way.
Except one of them.
You could tell. They're
I
so
remember
wordy.
once upon a time I was writing the ads, and
I
it
know.
was annoying.
Now we have AI.
And they were
we can
great.
just have AI do all of our work for us.
You know
I
what?
tweaked him a bit.
I'm gonna have AI show up for me one week and just see how that works out.
I think we like the original.
I get into little debates with Brian about AI. He freaking hates AI.
I'm
because
with
of the
Brian.
artist
Because it's gonna
aspect
take
of
over
it.
the world.
Well, because he's an artist, and there's a lot of people
Yeah.
doing their AI generated
Yeah.
art, and he's
You're
like
right.
pissed off about
Yeah,
it,
it
like
sucks. You're right.
severely.
But then
I'm
again,
with Brian.
but like the artists, like Hollywood writers, the same thing, right? Anybody that writes
Sure.
anything, AI could do that. now.
Journalists.
AI read every book
Authors.
ever made by man and knows everything you know times 1,000. So,
Times a million.
Calumet
times
Brewery.
Billions.
by the way, Calumet Brewing, Busch Light, the coldest and smoothest light lager,
Billion.
is calling you to embrace the great outdoors, the roar of NASCAR, and the joy of cracking a cold one. Celebrate life's moments with Busch Light, and then head over to Cal Brew on
Car.
Facebook or Instagram for a chance to win a Busch Light Igloo Cooler. That's dang right.
Did he take it?
An Igloo Cooler, it's right there. Sweeps are running through September.
Tom already took it.
Kevin,
What's a
your
sweet-
car sounded like a weird moan.
Mm.
Okay, there you go.
Visit, that's how he sounds in bed at
He's
night.
like,
Visit Busch.
Snoring.
Visit Busch.com and their social media pages for exciting updates and events. Head for the mountains of Busch Light and enjoy beers and cheers responsibly.
It was an e-bike.
Yeah, like you talk to Kevin's kids, they're like, I hear engine sounds at night. I don't know what it is coming from Dad's room.
Very exciting.
ew.
It's terrible.
Oh, Jana, get
All
ready.
right, yes.
Yikes.
Jana
She's
loves
not, she's
NASCAR.
not excited.
Yeah. All right. Hey, you guys
Nailed
want to
it.
know what it's like to be mayor of a city?
Oh, yes.
It doesn't even have to do with my city. It's just like, this is typical mayor shit. I got this letter, and I was getting my ass ripped in it, and every single thing the person's complaining about has nothing to do with what I do as my job. I love it. You get blamed for, I call it like the
That never happens to you, does it?
Well, I call it the Wizard of Oz effect.
It's so funny.
Everybody just assumes in a city that the mayor is responsible for every goddamn thing that happens, including the snow that hits the ground. God forbid, like your sewer grate in front of your house gets
Garbage
backed
didn't
up.
picked up.
Anything that goes wrong, I had something directly to do with it, right? Somebody pushes snow right into my driveway. It's because the mayor doesn't like me. It's like ridiculous, right? These are real complaints you get, right? So I coined the term a long time ago, the Wizard of Oz effect. Like, everybody just assumes the mayor is responsible for everything, and it goes both ways. I get credit for shit I didn't do also. I go,
Thank you,
walking
Mayor.
up, they're like, my sidewalk looks awesome. Thanks, Mayor. I'm like, no problem, man. I designed it myself. It's so funny. Like,
I was down on my hands and knees.
That's right.
I was paving.
Have you ever
that
seen your dad with a
sidewalk.
trowel?
Yeah, right.
He's great at it.
so the Wizard of Oz effect
He's
in
an
full
artist.
effect here with this email that I received the other day.
All right, so John, can we have a mailbag, please?
Mailbag.
Awesome.
Solid.
I should record
That's
that.
an original. No, I like the original.
We've only been saying that for 10 seasons. All right. Mayor McDermott. Why in God's name would the city close every set of railroad tracks from 173rd to Calumet Avenue at the same time? This is all one sentence, by the way. I'm gonna just bear with me.
I will continue because I have the same question.
So far, it's a good question.
At the same time, I understand they need repairs, but common sense would tell you to close a couple at a time so people can get around in Hessville. And for emergencies, no one took into consideration that Klein is down to one lane from 169th all the way down. I was stuck on Klein for over 25 minutes in traffic trying to get to an emergency, plus 8094 was backed way up, period. Woo!
That's a long one. He's pissed.
It's a bit of a common sense to leave some type of access, period. Absolutely ridiculous, period.
No exclamation points.
No.
Oh, he was
We
just
were lucky
very
for the
stern
periods.
about it.
Yeah.
We were lucky that we got periods.
He was just very
Much less.
declarative.
Very.
Further punctuation.
Okay.
So the thing I found ironic about this is everything this author wrote about and complained about, I had nothing to do with.
All right, so let's start off with the railroad.
Because it's like the first sentence, why in God's name would the city do all these fucked up things, right? Okay, so the first thing he complains about is
all the
Klein
railroad
is down.
crossings. Oh, I thought it was the railroad crossings.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. The railroad crossings. All of them at one time. I have nothing to do with railroads. Like the railroads, I hate the railroads. I've sued the railroads. I've been fighting with the railroads for 20 years. They don't give a shit about what we thought, right? So the railroads did close all the railroad lines down. In federal law, railroads have way more power than cities, way more power than states. I have no control over this at all.
Yeah, I mean, the city engineer just says, like,
Stupid.
they just let us know.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we're shutting down all these crossings today. We're going to work on them. As we finish them, we'll open them.
Correct.
But the whole city's just crawling. It has nothing to do with the mayor. But, of course, everybody that's sitting in traffic is like, Mayor Tom is an idiot. Can you believe this guy? Shut all these. That's being the mayor right there. Everybody gets pissed off at me, and I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
That's a perfect. Okay, so, and then this is the second part of the ramble. No one took into consideration that Klein is down to one lane from 169th all the way down, and I was stuck on Klein for over 25 minutes in traffic trying to get to an emergency. Plus, 8094 was backed all the way up.
That portion is very barely in Hammond. Most of
Well,
it's
no,
in
it's in
Griffith.
Hammond, but it's controlled by INDOT, Indiana Department of Transportation. Klein Avenue is controlled by INDOT, Indiana Department of Transportation. All these projects are controlled by INDOT, the state agency. So everything that this letter complains about, all the railroad crossings controlled by, all the federal railroads, all the Klein and 8094 shut down, that's all INDOT. Plus, keep in mind, in the city, we're doing our own projects.
Sure.
And keep in mind, everybody, where I live, 4 months of the year, you can't do anything. So every construction project needs to happens in 8 months, not just for Hammond, for every city, Chicago, everyone.
It's like March until November. Look out.
And we all have money because the federal government gave everybody billions and billions
Including
of
the
dollars.
state.
So we all have money. We all have a constricted window.
We
And
all have
we're all
crappy
trying to do it at the
roads.
same, and we all have
And-
crappy roads.
and
We're
they've all
trying
had-
to all do it at the same time.
And everyone's had projects that have been waiting for money for a long time.
So, this is probably the worst construction season. Next year probably won't be much better that you'll have in your entire life because we're doing more work than the federal, state, and local governments have ever done. It's happening right now. And you'll never see it as bad as it is right now. But it's not because you have a bad mayor. It's because everybody's doing work in an 8-month period.
Yes. And everybody always says, don't worry, it's going to be great when it's all done.
And then we'll start working on it again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys feel like the railroad stuff's kind of reaching a fever pitch? Not just here, but like you hear it in other news stories too. Like it's just getting ridiculous.
What do you mean?
You mean
Like, so for example, let's talk about here for a moment. A month before they shut down these railroad crossings, they tore them up to get ready for this project.
Mm-hmm.
They tore them up in a really shitty way where
Yeah.
for a month
Yeah.
people are
They're
rolling
rough.
over these things with rough crossings.
Yeah,
Why
they're
so
rough.
long between that and the actual project?
Because they don't care, John.
Okay, so let's fantasize. I just want to fantasize about something real quick with you guys. Tom, what if you parked a bunch of dump trucks on the tracks and said, like, we're fed up. Stop treating us like this. What would happen? No, let's talk about it. Legally, what would happen? Like, you guys have
They
to
would
start
file a
treating us
lawsuit against
better.
us?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'd
In
file
federal
an
court.
injunction and move
In federal
everything
court.
done.
And
Yeah.
then a judge would come out and say, if
Move-
you do
move
it
the dump
again,
trucks.
you're in contempt of court and you'll lose your lot license.
You could get away with it, John, for one time.
It would
It'd
be
be
cool.
fucking epic, dude.
It would be cool
It would be
headlines.
cool
Yes.
as hell.
As long
Dump
as
up piles of like dirt and sand on
And
the
then
tracks.
I would
like-
have Judge Van Bockelen threatening me that
Well-
if I ever do it again, we're dead meat.
Yeah, and I mean, John, if you dump stuff like that and then the train derails and then there's a big fire and then the city burns down. Hey, I thought it was John Vesmer's idea, man. I don't know.
Is that a Hammond truck? That's not a Hammond truck. Is it? What is that Hammond truck doing on the railroad tracks?
I would counsel against that, but it's
Okay.
a fun idea.
It's a great idea, John.
Thanks.
Let's work this out in our heads
Yeah.
and not include Kevin in the decision-making process.
And also
In
not
John's head,
discuss it
in
on a
John's head,
podcast.
all the trains stopped for years and they were backed up.
We couldn't figure out what to do about this.
I'm just saying it's getting ridiculous.
I'm perplexed.
Everyone knows
I'm
it.
with you. No,
Everyone knows it. No one's doing anything about it. Oh, they got lobbyists. They're so powerful. They were here before us. Like,
Yeah,
how
this
long
is
are
all
you going
true.
to keep using this stuff?
I mean,
Until
they're
the law
200
changes.
years old, John.
Yeah.
They've been around for 200
Until
years.
the law changes, that's what we're going to be talking about,
Yes.
unfortunately. But
Well, thank you for the mailbag.
Yeah,
It's
that
good
was
to get
good.
back.
that was a
and-
good one. Back in
Yes.
business. But hey, we talk about certain things on this show. One of the topics we talk about a lot is the marijuana laws and how weird and quirky they are, and how you could drive and buy marijuana and just simply drive home, and which is technically illegal, but people do it on a daily basis. People that work in churches, people that are super honest people, they do it on a daily basis. So basically, people are going to go out of their way to try to find out, how to experience these types of highs.
when they,
Some
especially
people-
especially if they're not near a border
Right.
state where it's legal. Right?
Okay,
I
so
mean,
in Indiana, if you didn't want to break the law, I know
sure, I
people
get
like-
what you're saying. Yeah,
there's certain people that are like, hey, as long as it's illegal, I'll never do it.
sure.
Okay, even though like I probably would like it, I just won't do it because like Lindsay, for instance. Lindsay's
I'm a nurse. They're going
Right.
to test me for it.
She's like,
It's-
even if I wanted to do it, I can't do it because I'm a nurse.
it's
right?
not happening.
There's people like that.
Sure.
I'm married to one of them.
Yep.
She's just like, hey, listen, as long as it's illegal, I'll never do it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a good girl, and God bless America. Okay, so but now, a few years ago, Indiana legalized hemp, THC.
Yeah, I think what they did is they took it out of the definition of marijuana, which in effect, like you said, Mayor, legalized
CBD,
it.
excuse me,
There you
hemp
go.
CBD.
Yeah,
Hemp.
THC. I was
Hemp.
like, that's the fun
Well,
part. that
there's
everyone
THC
likes.
in it. That's the fun part. So, like, when you buy CBD, like I get my dog CBD, at the time, it was front page news. I admitted it in an open meeting, and it was on the front page of the Indy Star. It was a big deal. The Attorney General threatened to arrest me, and it was a big deal. And
Incredible.
Teddy
And
has
then
his own
Teddy got
page.
a Twitter account.
and he became famous. That dog.
We
did.
can get into that Twitter account, though.
I
Yes,
I
love
start
that
using
account.
Teddy.
I
You
think
should
that's part of the
start-
reason I got locked out, by the way, is because of that account. But anyway, I think that's part of the reason because I lost track of that account, and there was 2 accounts on my email. But so they legalized CBD shortly after that incident I had with the former Attorney General, and one of the byproducts of legalizing CBD is the creation of something called Delta 8. Now, Delta 8 is CBD. It's legal under Indiana CBD laws that were legalized to allow for CBD, and Delta 8 gets you high.
It's synthetically produced. It's something about like it's similar to Delta. I kind of educated myself a little bit on this. Delta 9 THC. Delta 9 THC is what's in cannabis plants.
Right.
So this is called Delta 8 and has some kind of lower amount of THC in it.
So that it's legal,
correct.
but it's enough to get you high. I know people that have taken Delta 8, and they're the types of people that are like, hey, listen, I don't like to break the law, but this is legal because Indiana legalized CBD. So they go to stores that are specifically selling Delta 8. You look at stores across Indiana right now are selling Delta 8 CBD. When they're advertising it, they even put little marijuana leaves with it. They're telling you could get high off of this. You could buy Delta 8 and get high off of it. And it was a total quirk in Indiana law that they missed this. And now basically they've legalized this type of weed in Indiana.
Inadvertently.
They did not mean to do this.
Well, now we've brought this up that when you were traveling for the Senate race, you're like, yeah, I saw these signs, Delta 8 here,
everywhere.
down south.
Everywhere.
Especially internally, right, where you're not near a border.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
They sell it all over the state right now, right? So our Attorney General, who's from Munster, right? By the way, so I'm in a Mexican restaurant in Munster. I'll let you delve on it, which one I'm at.
Okay.
I'm with Marissa the other day, and we were sitting at the bar, and I see a marijuana leaf on the drink. And I'm like, what's that drink? And they're like, it's got THC in it. And interested Tom is like, really? Because this is not legal, right? I'm like, so tell me about this. It's got THC. She's like, yeah, it gets you high. And I'm like, that drink right there will get you high. She's like, yeah, if you drink it like people do. And I'm like, I almost bought
Suspect.
it. Because I'm like, there's no freaking way. Because that's illegal. There's no way that they're selling something that's illegal. It has Delta 8.
Interesting.
So they have drinks now in Munster that they're marketing to the public, like me, face to face. Like, yeah, it'll get you high. Buy it.
Has a marijuana leaf on the drink.
Has a marijuana leaf on it.
Interesting.
Right. They're selling it in Munster. Todd Rakita's from Munster. So Todd Rakita is like, enough of this silliness. Todd Rakita is saving Indiana
From Delta 8.
From Delta 8. So he declared it a Schedule 1 controlled substance.
Which makes it illegal.
Yeah.
And
So it puts it on the same level as like heroin.
So what he did, though, was
Jesus
issue what's called he issued what's called an attorney general's opinion, and he said he was asked by several county prosecutors to do so. So he issues this 14-page opinion, or I don't know how many pages it was, that he in January of this year, he said that other designer cannabinoid products like Delta 8 are against Indiana law. And like you said, Schedule 1 controlled substance, which is
way intense.
And so that, of course, sprung into action a lot of the conservative county prosecutors around the state.
Yeah, Du Bois County prosecutor Beth Schrader attributed her decision to Rakita's opinion and writes to a local CBD shop. I'm writing to inform you that if you continue to possess and or sell these products, you and or your employees could be charged with dealing in a controlled substance under Indiana Code 3548-4-2, Schroeder wrote in her statement. Depending on the weight, this charge could be up to a level 2 felony, which has the possibility of a 10 to 30 years in prison. You work at a health food store.
You got a little store going. Got a little Delta 8.
I sell vitamins to seniors and Delta 8 because it's legal, and now I'm facing 30 years in prison in Indiana.
Yeah, and I read about a little a place in Vanderburgh County near Evansville, and the guy has 80% of his sales are Delta 8, and he's like, I'm screwed. I mean, I'm done. I'm going. He said I'm going to close up the shop and move to Kentucky.
How much?
80% of his sales are Delta 8 of his place.
It is synthetic, you said.
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't there reports that this is quite dangerous, though?
No, that's
Delta
spice.
8. Spice?
Do you guys remember
those are
when
bath salts? Those are bath salts.
No,
They're totally different.
Do you guys remember the synthetic
Bath
weed
salts.
when I was in high school?
Those are
and
called
people,
bath salts. Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
That's dangerous.
Is that
Those
what
are-
they were?
no,
Because
those are
they called it
chemicals.
spice when
No.
I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
I gotta say this though,
Those-
the idea
those
that
bath salts, spice, it's all the same.
the idea
stuff.
that
That's
Delta
totally
8 is
chemical.
synthetic kind of gives me a little bit of pause.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, the synthetic
mean,
weed freaks me out a bit.
because we've always talked about the fact, and even Dr. Forright when he's been on, he's like, it's a plant. It's a plant. This is not a plant. This is something
Agreed.
made chemically.
I want to try the plant. I don't.
So you're saying he's right.
No. I'm not. I'm just saying from a use standpoint.
No,
I
that's
wonder
interesting.
if I was a
I
pot
wouldn't
user,
smoke it.
would I want to use Delta 8 if I had marijuana
If you're a pot
available?
user, why would you smoke Delta 8? It makes
Well, that's
no
what I'm
sense.
saying, right?
Yeah, because like going back to what you said. No, I'll just smoke the plant
Correct.
and get high.
And
Correct.
that sounds
Right?
healthier to me.
It
I
sounds
agree.
healthier to me too.
I agree.
Neither is healthy. I think we could all agree that
Sure.
smoking anything is unhealthy. But like, would you rather smoke this chemical that's Todd Rakita hates, or would you rather smoke this plant that Todd Rakita hates?
Well, also,
Smoke the
like,
plant.
I think I'd go with the plant.
Yeah.
I would go with the plant. I wouldn't smoke Delta 8 personally, but like, this is a little extreme. I mean,
Yeah.
Schedule 1 with heroin and crack.
Yeah.
And a level 2 felony threatening a health food owner.
They'd be like better off
food
selling
store
just
owner.
straight weed from that health store, and they'd probably face less of a sentence.
Maybe.
Seriously, just start selling weeds.
I sold a joint. I got a letter of
It's a
reprimand.
misdemeanor.
Yeah, right. I sold Delta 8, went to prison for 30 years. What are you in here for? Murder.
So
what are you in here for? Sold Delta 8. Get to the health food store.
So, I mean, I guess kind of put on your mayor hat or put on your political hat, Tom. Like, what do you make of Rokita's position? Why is he doing this? Is it simply to be the attorney general and to give an opinion because other prosecutors have asked him, or do you think there's a political angle to this?
No, there's definitely a political angle. Everything that Todd Rokita does has a political angle. The bottom line is this is silliness, that we're literally threatening old ladies that work in CBD shops with 30 years in prison. Seriously? Take a step back. Let's look at what we're doing here. You go right over there to Michigan or right over there to Illinois or go to 37 other states, and what they're doing with real weed is absolutely legal, and they're making money off it and tax money, and we're in Indiana threatening old ladies to throw them in jail for 30 years. It's insane.
These are just a bunch of buzzkills in government. We're just making things hard for everybody who just want to live.
I think that's the point, though, right? I mean, it would be different if marijuana wasn't legal everywhere, and then Delta 8 was like this.
Yeah, if it was 15 years ago where no weed was legal anywhere, this would be appropriate. It would be harsh, but appropriate. But now with weed legalized in 37 states,
and with the prospect of the DEA decriminalizing or making it no longer a level 3. I mean, getting rid of it even as a level 3, or making it
the
a
attorney
level
general.
3. Yeah. I mean, it's in the DEA's hands.
You're talking
about federally.
Right.
Federally, right?
But think of also let's rewind like a month when we were in San Francisco watching the Dead Show.
Yeah.
I mean, they're selling freaking mushrooms in the open air, and it's legal. And this old lady at the CBD shop's going to go down for 30 years because she's selling CBD. Like, could we look more backwards in Indiana right now? I'm not saying we should legalize mushrooms either. I'm just saying what a different world we live in. In California, they're selling like hard drugs openly on the street. Nobody does shit about it. And an old lady selling CBD in Evansville, and she's going down for 30 years. It's like, come on.
It's like a 3-hour plane ride.
It's
I think
ridiculous.
we should move. Let's just go somewhere else.
I don't know, man. I'm not convinced. I was reading the Delta 8 stuff while you guys were talking.
Yeah.
The synthetic part of it does seem kind of weird.
Right. I mean, but that's a use issue, right? I'm talking like that's different than like, is it
Why don't I
legal
go
or
buy
not
some
legal?
Delta 8 and take it right before a show?
What is this
You do it.
website?
I will.
This website is Forbes, and they're just quoting. So 15 states have banned this, and the FDA just issued a cease and desist in July.
So it is. I wonder if it's like what Lindsay was saying, like spice.
Well, no, it's because it's dangerous for children. So when it comes to like marijuana, like the plant, when kids get into it, it's not a huge deal. But apparently with Delta 8, it's been causing some brain swell. But I was reading it behind you, and the report that they cited, I'd be interested to see the medical history of that 2-year-old because kids get encephalopathy all the time, like brain swell.
Big words.
Thank
Lance.
God we have
Welcome
a nurse
back.
on. Yeah, this is great.
Brain swell is very common when your brain is growing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's at the perfect age for that to kick in.
If
So.
Rokita was doing it on that end, I might be more apt to think it wasn't as political. But I think you hit it on the nail on the head.
Oh, he's grandstanding.
Yeah.
Oh,
But he may be grandstanding on an issue that we sort of agree with. That
Maybe,
this
yeah.
Is, I would just be like, don't smoke the fake stuff, smoke the real stuff. That's where I'm coming from. Is like, why would you smoke a chemical when you got plenty of weed? They have more weed in California than every California resident could smoke in like 2 years.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why they want the feds to legalize it federally.
Because they can export it then.
What'll happen is in Indiana,
We'll just get California
Hoosiers
weed.
think if they legalize it federally that suddenly we're going to get all the infrastructure that they built in all these other states.
Yeah, and
and
agriculture's going to profit.
No,
and-
we'll never get a penny of that investment. It's done already. What'll happen is if the feds legalize marijuana, all this weed that's being stored up in states and can't go across their line will flood Indiana.
including Michigan.
Right. I mean, we'll have weed galore for every and
Every state will. They'll be like,
yeah,
oh, here's the California weed.
They can't give it away fast enough. Michigan too. Like you go to the stores in Michigan, they literally just handing you, like you bought $100 worth. Here's an extra $100 on
There's
that.
a couple freebies.
I mean,
Right.
aren't there some counties in California that are just famous for how good
Yeah.
the weed is? And so, like, if you could,
What's it
could
called?
think
The
about if you
Emerald
could-
Triangle,
Where
where they
it's-
grow it.
yes,
Is it Emerald?
I think that's right.
It's the
yeah.
Emerald
Yeah.
Triangle.
It's where my
in
sister
North,
lives.
Yeah,
in
North
Humboldt,
California.
Yeah, Humboldt.
No,
That's
no.
what I'm thinking of.
Right.
Humboldt. So, like, if you could think about if you could label Humboldt County weed and like sell it in Indiana.
Like you do with wine.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Good,
Exactly.
right.
Exactly, Lynn.
It's champagne from the Champagne region of
I was-
This
France.
is a 2022 strain.
We'll never get that investment in Indiana. That investment is gone. Yeah,
No, and
we
it's
missed
gone to cooler states.
Yeah.
With
they-
the
well, I
younger
mean, they-
population.
Indiana missed the boat on the revenue.
Yeah, it's because we had politicians like Todd Rokita and governors with their heads buried in the sand about investments of billions of dollars that we could have received over the last decade, and we skipped it.
So consumers will eventually, when Indiana gets on board or the federal government decriminalizes it or makes it level 3, is that the consumer will profit or consumer will benefit, but not the farmer.
Right.
Indiana farmers, SOL.
I found Tom's Twitter.
Whoa.
Yeah, Teddy.
Teddy McDermott.
At Mayor Tom K9.
Yeah.
He's a 12. Well, he
How
was
cute.
no longer 12 years old, but
Yeah.
he loves Lucy, squirrels,
Yeah.
sleeping.
Look at that.
and
How can you not look
swimming.
at this picture and think
He was a
dogs
squirrel
don't
killer.
have souls?
Yeah.
So cute. Is
All
that,
right.
is that
Teddy was my little baby boy.
All right, let's do some ads.
Yeah.
All right,
Cute.
Bessemer Insurance Agency. For decades, Ron J. Bessemer Insurance Agency has been your trusted neighbor right on Indianapolis Boulevard, serving all your insurance needs. Their wide range of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, life, have helped over 1,000 individuals and businesses throughout Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron or Ronnie today at 219-844-0103. They're here to protect what matters to you most.
All right, Byway Brewing, a family-friendly microbrewery, welcomes you to their spacious tap room and outdoor patio. Enjoy award-winning craft beer, a chef-driven menu, and craft draft cocktails. Their unique brewing equipment and production facility provide a perfect backdrop for private events, whether it's a bridal shower, reunion, or corporate party. With their new food truck, they can cater to your corporate and private events off-site. Customer service is our top priority at Byway Brewing, just off 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Discover more at bywaybrewing.beer.
that food truck is cool, John. You had it at Beatles Fest, didn't you?
Yeah, it
By
was
the way,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, and I saw it at
They're
Roadie
awesome.
Fest too.
Yeah,
That food truck is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. Kuklakis Law. Are you navigating complex legal challenges, unsure of where to turn for guidance? Your search ends here with Kuklakis Law, your trusted partner for legal solutions in Indiana and Illinois. Whether you're seeking expert representation for real estate transactions, need assistance in forming your business, or have experienced a personal injury at work or in a car crash, Kuklakis Law is here for you. No matter the nature of your legal issue, their team is ready to help. Call Kuklakis Law today at 219-671-6347 to schedule your free consultation. Hablamos Español.
Rogers Roofing. When you demand nothing but the best for your home and family, trust the industry leader, Rogers Roofing. For over 54 years, they've been transforming homes in Northwest Indiana and the Chicagoland area. Their commitment to quality shines through in their roofing, siding, gutters, and windows, all backed by the most comprehensive warranties in the business. Visit our website at rogersroofing.com or call 219-933-9145 to schedule your free consultation. That's rogersroofing.com or 933-9145. And remember, at Rogers Roofing, excellence is expected every time.
Thank you to our sponsors.
All right, election season is upon us. Well, we're in election season where I live because all municipal office holders are running right now, except for me. I don't have an opponent. But
Technically, you are still running. now.
yeah, I'm running. One person has to vote for me, and I promise to be that person.
Oh.
So, but next year, right now, the presidency is starting to heat up as far as the Republican nomination for presidency is taking place in what states right now? New Hampshire, Iowa.
They're
right?
getting ready. But I
guess-
mean, even the debates have been on, right?
Yeah, the debates, the Republican debates are on. Trump didn't attend. Obviously, most people expect Trump to win the Republican nomination, and he has these pesky lawsuits hanging over his head, these criminal trials and indictments, right? So there's a theory taking place right now that we wanted to talk about, that we're going to hear a lot more about, are secretaries of states that are filing lawsuits to prevent Trump's access to the ballot in certain states, which would be catastrophic for his campaign because you want to be on every state's ballot so you can get those votes in the Electoral College.
Yeah, and it's like one of these things that you probably learn about when you take constitutional law and then forget about because, gosh, why would anything to do with the Civil War ever come back and have anything to do with modern America? But luckily, and thank you to the Cass County Democratic Party for my handy constitution here.
You don't see Democrats handing out constitutions very often.
Yes, you do.
You
I
see
think
Republicans
that's
handing
the
it out all the
fallacy.
time.
That's the fallacy of it all. All right. Yeah. Amendment 14. These are Civil War amendments, post-Civil War amendments, right? Section 3. And I don't want to read the whole thing, but I mean, it's interesting, right? No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature, blah, 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 to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof.
Okay. So there you go. That clause is
Section 3.
giving heartburn to supporters of Donald Trump in America right now. Because if you take a broad view of that clause, a very wide view of it, you could say that January 6th was an insurrection. And if you take that view, you could say that this section of the Constitution would bar Trump's candidacy, which would mean he cannot become president.
You can't run for president, can't
right.
become president.
And I could see why they made them. Obviously, we just got done with the Civil War. And obviously, we had people that had previously taken oaths, former congressmen, that, maybe lived in South Carolina, that took up arms against the oath that they, of the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
So when the Civil War is over and these congressmen that lived in South Carolina
get my
are
old
like,
job
hey,
back.
I want to become a congressman of the United States again, they're like, wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You can't run because we inserted this into the Constitution that says if you previously took an oath, you can't come back.
Yeah, I mean, there were several acts in the 1870s, like I think it was called the Amnesty Act or something, that allowed them all to be absolved of that prohibition of office.
So I was reading an essay basically that was saying, it was interesting. It was on CNN, and the essay was saying, and you would think that on CNN they would say Trump shouldn't be allowed to run, but this person was like, hey, listen, we have safeguards built into the system, like impeachment, criminal prosecution. Why are we using this technicality to bar Trump when the legal system's taking care of itself? If Trump committed a crime, let the justice system handle it like it's doing right now. Why should we bar him from running for office? And quite frankly, it was very persuasive to me. I thought it was a very good article.
Yeah, I didn't really find it as persuasive. And I'm not saying necessarily that, I mean, it's an interesting constitutional question to me. And I'm not saying it as a Democrat or like an anti-Trump person. I just think it's interesting. And it'd be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, I guess the way I would reflect or respond to that guy would be, yeah, he does have these criminal problems, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is not independent of that. And if you have a prohibition under the Constitution, you have a prohibition under the Constitution.
So is January 6th an insurrection?
I guess that would be for the courts to decide.
Right.
Right? Like,
and by the way, some of the Proud Boys are going down for sedition charges.
Yeah, seditious conspiracy.
So if they're going down for seditious conspiracy charges, that lends credence to the fact that it was an insurrection.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, you're right, I agree. And to me, like when I was reading the provision in the Constitution, I think the key words are engage, right? Engage in insurrection or rebellion, right? And then or give aid or comfort to those that are thereof that are.
Because Donald Trump's not going to engage in anything.
Right.
He skipped Vietnam. He skipped January 6th also. He egged everybody on and then went back to the White House.
But did he give aid or comfort to the enemies thereof? So I mean, how
about this?
It all falls on.
If I become president, I'm going to exonerate every person that went in.
He said that aid or comfort.
That's aid or comfort, right?
Mm-hmm. If you consider those people insurrectionists or rebellion.
John, you're being very quiet.
What an unfortunate presentation that just was.
Why? We can't talk about it?
That was
I just thought it was kind of funny.
But like we're talking about it. That's all we're doing. I'm actually saying I don't think. I'll be honest with you. I think it makes us look weak if we're like you can't run for president.
And I think it's an interesting constitutional question that maybe the Supreme Court needs to weigh in.
And the Civil War had hundreds of thousands of dead. And I realized Ashley Babbitt, I believe, was one that died during January 6th. And there was a police officer that had a heart attack after. And I realized people died during January 6th, but I don't think you could really compare January 6th to the Civil War.
You can't compare them, but the question is, are they both insurrections? I think that's the issue, right? I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a big insurrection or a small insurrection.
The word insurrection's in the Constitution, right?
It is in the Constitution, but not defined, right? So it has to be interpreted by the courts.
That's interesting.
It is interesting.
You guys asked me what I think. I think when I see stuff like this, I think the Republicans have to start getting tough. If you guys want to talk about 14th Amendment, we have to start talking about 25th Amendment. Seriously. There's just a huge thing going on no one's talking about, which is Biden's mental health. The Republicans are
they did that with Trump. Remember they did it with Trump, John?
Yeah.
Like if somebody's a bad guy, like it doesn't mean we have to like take somebody out on the other team because I mean, listen, January 6th was a stain in our country. I'm not saying I don't know if it's an insurrection and we can qualify it as an insurrection, but it was not a great day. And Trump had a lot to do with it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think, John, to what you're saying is interesting, right? Because the Republicans have to take a really tough stand on things. And the really curious thing to me when I looked into this,
I'm saying it's a slippery slope. That's what I'm saying.
And the interesting thing
to your point, Tom, actually,
right.
yeah.
When I looked into this a little bit, John, it was interesting to me that kind of what started the groundswell of this was a law review article in my alma mater, University of Pennsylvania. No, I didn't go to law school there, but my undergraduate alma mater, University of Pennsylvania Law School law review by two conservative law professors, one at U of C and one somewhere at St. Thomas, that came to the conclusion Donald Trump cannot be president, cannot run for president, cannot become president, cannot hold office unless 2/3 of Congress decide to grant him amnesty versus conduct on January 6th. That was the conclusion they raised. So it's interesting to me that, like, I think what you're saying is, hey, we got to come together to fight this. And it looks like there's definitely a conservative angle that says, hold up. So, I mean, it may be like literalists of the Constitution that people...
Listen, I personally don't feel that we should use this as a bar to allowing him to run. I don't think it makes the Democratic Party look good. I think that Donald Trump's going to lose anyway. So why are we going to make a martyr of the guy, basically?
Well, I mean, that's
and
what
they say. They wouldn't even let me run.
Look what's happened in the indictment. I mean, he's become a martyr in that sense. Look what they're doing to me. They're trying to. They know I'm going to win.
But if you commit a crime,
no, I hear you.
You commit a crime, you got to be charged.
I'm just saying it's one more thing where he can say I'm a martyr.
Okay, so if let's say we barred Trump from running because we called January 6th an insurrection, which I don't think is completely irresponsible. If that's the route we took, then what happens like to Vietnam veterans that protested the war during Vietnam? What happens to people that aided slaves during the Underground Railroad?
I would say that doesn't apply to them because you have to have previously taken an oath to support the Constitution as an officer of the...
Okay, so if you were aiding... slaves.
I think you could
via the Underground Railroad, and you're a congressperson or
a congressperson,
a mayor, and you want to run for president.
I don't see the insurrection or rebellion there, but again, I mean, or engaging in insurrection or rebellion. I think those are factually different, but.
So basically, I think we need to define what an insurrection is.
Yeah, maybe the
and
courts
if it applies
will.
to January 6th.
I think ultimately, it'd be interesting to see what the Supreme Court does. I don't think they go ahead and enforce it, but I guess from just being a lawyer, it's an interesting legal conundrum.
Let me ask you this, like, legally. So this is being done in many states. If it's ruled on by the Supreme Court in one instance, does that apply to all instances?
Yes.
Okay.
If the Supreme Court could clear it up through all the different...
You mean as it applies to Trump, John?
Yes,
yes,
right.
absolutely.
But can California come out and say, yeah, Trump won't be on the ballot? Yeah, they could do that. And then what'll happen is Trump will sue in federal court to get federal court system involved. And then the U.S. Supreme Court will get involved through that.
And thank God he stacked the deck in the Supreme Court.
Well, so like they tried to do this against Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it failed. They tried to do it against.
Unfortunately, it failed.
Yeah. but see where we're going though with it. There was a couple examples in this article, Kevin, of county commissioner that got blocked because the county commissioner went to January 6th.
Yes,
running for freaking county commissioner, John.
But they did it.
What?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I mean
They took an oath.
They took an oath. They went to January 6th.
Participated in rebellion.
They got challenged and said you can't participate because you participated in insurrection under the U.S. Constitution, and they were prevented from running for office.
And apparently the guy didn't appeal.
He was there.
He
he
didn't
didn't like go
fight
in
it.
or anything.
He went in. No,
he went in.
Yeah.
Was he charged? For
That I
anything?
don't know.
Okay.
Probably. I don't know. We should have probably
well,
researched
but
that a
also
little
that
bit
could have
more.
been a personal choice too, because you got footage of you inside the Capitol during an insurrection.
Well, listen,
It
if you were
doesn't look
challenged,
good in an
man,
election year,
if you get, well, yeah, agree. But like if you were, unless you have Republican supporting voters, but if you were getting challenged, you have to hire lawyers and fight it.
Yeah.
And that costs money.
Yeah, and
some
I
people don't have that kind of money.
The only thing I saw so far is that the New Hampshire Attorney General, who's a Republican, was looking into the issue because he was asked by another Republican who ran for Senate last term to look into it. So that he hasn't decided anything yet. Arizona is quote unquote looking into it, and in Colorado, a left-leaning group filed a lawsuit.
I'm
So
sure
that's where it sits right
Diego Morales, our Secretary of State in Indiana, is delving deep into this issue.
Very deep.
I could see him put a lot of thought into it.
Do you remember, John, the Republican congressman from North Carolina, Madison Cawthorn? Cawthorn,
yeah.
Yeah, they tried to file it against him, and actually the district court ruled in his favor. The appellate court reversed, and it died because he lost the election.
So the appellate court said it was an insurrection.
The appellate court said that the Amnesty Act of 1872 didn't apply to him. It only applied retroactively to Civil War. Yeah. So it's getting there.
But you have to be found not to be able to run. They have to determine that January 6th was an insurrection.
Yeah, absolutely. And that you engaged in it or aided and comforted its enemies.
Do you think January 6th was an insurrection?
Personally, I would say yes.
I
Because
do too. But like, I don't think this should apply. But
and by the way, I'm not saying by saying that, I'm not saying Trump caused it, or I'm not like weighing in on that part of it. I think that the people that went into the Capitol were trying to stop Congress's ability to certify the election in the Senate.
I agree with you.
All people?
Not all people, John.
Okay.
No. I mean, I would say
these
some of it.
doors were like wide open.
Well, they were
parts.
busted open, but yeah, they
Some,
went through police.
John, would you have gone in? There's no freaking way in hell I would
No,
have
but
gone
there
in
are
there.
people who just
stepping
walked
through
in.
Agree, John.
broken
And
windows.
haven't seen the
broken
light
doors.
of day since then. They're just being no trial. They're just thrown into prison.
What are you talking about?
No, it's not like Guantanamo.
Non-violent.
Like, what are you talking about, dude? It's like, you get off the freaking rabbit.
I'm
get
not
out of the
kidding.
rabbit
There are
hole.
people that have been jailed since then.
And no trial. We have the Constitution, bud.
I mean, the trials are starting to happen, but
You have,
they've
like,
been locked up for
No
a couple
bail?
years. No.
All right. You're going to have to pull that one
yeah,
under the show.
I mean, I'm not
For
disagreeing.
sure.
I'm not disbelieving.
Let me
you.
ask
I'm
you
just-
guys a direct question. Do you think the non-violent January 6th offenders, quote unquote, should be pardoned? Non-violent, like meaning they
Pardoned?
just walked in.
No. I think they should be charged with a crime. I'm
For
not
just
saying they
walking
should go
into the
yeah,
Capitol.
They should get like a federal
Staying
trespassing.
between the ropes, those
Yeah.
videos that came
You
out.
didn't, John. Anybody who walked in on January 6th knew what they were doing. If they are found, they should have some type of federal charge, meaning like even if it's a trespass, something minimal.
No, but
Misdemeanor.
these people are being
Misdemeanor.
sent to prison for years.
Well,
for
I'd have
just
to.
walking
John,
in.
you're
I'd have
speaking
to
in
see-
platitudes, man. Like I think you need to come up with specific cases.
Yeah, I'd have to
so-
see the case, John, because I agree. I mean, I think everything's a degree, right? Like, I think, like you said, did everybody that walked into Capitol, was everyone an insurrectionist? I would say no to that. But
I mean, is everybody not allowed to run for office under the Constitution? I would say no to that.
I agree.
If you walked into the Capitol and you get charged with a misdemeanor trespass, I have no sympathy for them.
Yeah, I think it's a degree of how you're charged.
If you broke anything, screw
yeah.
you, man. If you freaking threatened any cop, screw you, man.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just walked in, walked around, took a couple pictures and left, if you get a misdemeanor, I'm not going to lose sleep over it because you knew what you were doing was wrong.
you knew you shouldn't have gone in.
Dude, if I walked up to the Capitol and the doors were wide open, I would not walk in right now, even if there was no violence. Like, look at the doors are open. I'm going to walk right in. Nobody does that. You knew what you were doing.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who's visited Washington, D.C. or the Capitol, know you got to go through security. You got to go through this. There's only certain hours.
They knew what was going on, John. But, like, I don't think everybody should go to prison.
No. And if people have been sitting in prison for this since January 6th, John, I bet it's because their lawyer requested continuances, because there's a speedy trial rule.
Mm-hmm.
So there's got to be, I'm not
Unless
doubting
America's
that
totally
people may
broken.
be-
The American justice system's totally broken. I don't really agree with that statement you said.
Yeah, I'd be
earlier.
curious to see. If there are specific instances, I'd be happy to
The
look
only
at it.
case I heard about that is what Kevin says, Guantanamo, where they're held with no
Yeah, no,
no
that is
bail.
crazy. Think about it. Some people have
but
been held since
I agree,
2001.
but like, okay, but then are they American citizens? These are the things you have to
Good
start.
point.
Are you entitled to constitutional
and it's a
protection?
military prison.
If you're an Iraqi soldier that was, stolen from Iraq or, basically kidnapped and put in Guantanamo Bay, by a military tribunal, I don't know if you're entitled to constitutional protection. So that's a whole separate matter. But
Agree.
all right, told you we were going to bore you.
I thought that was
I
interesting.
see. I think I represent the average person, and I kind of zoned out for a
But
second.
like, but it's you're going to be hurting. Like we in Lockpod, we sort of light the way for you because this is going to be a topic.
The knowledge is
We light
there
the way
when
for
you're
you.
ready.
That's
for
it, John. Right?
That's what we do. That's what we do.
No, our
And you're gonna
title
be
is
hearing about
T-shirt.
Jesus would
That's
use
right.
a bicycle.
Would Jesus? Yeah.
I don't know. Jesus in a title.
No,
WWJD.
What would you?
Christ would not use a Segway. That's
All
a
right.
really good title.
Christ would not use a Segway.
Wrap it
All
up,
right. Well, welcome
locomotive.
back, Linz. It's good to have you
Yes.
in the studio. Welcome back,
So good.
Notorious LMP.
Here
You're going to be
I am.
doing Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
Jill on Friday, Lindsay on
Yes.
Tuesday. So,
Tune in.
all right.
One
Kevin?
more year of nursing school.
Yep.
I'll-
And then you'll be a
maybe
full-time
I'll be here.
podcaster.
Yes. Then you could be here every Tuesday.
I went to school to be a full-time podcaster.
That's right. Jay
Because this
Baz.
pays so well.
Hey.
I know it does. And your taxes are due. By
Oh,
the way.
actually, I've got those for you to sign.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit. For all of us, or
Yes.
all right. Jay Baz, good to see you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, great job today. Kevin Smith, awesome.
Yes.
Good pre-show
Thank
last
you.
night. Thanks to Danny Z's for feeding us and
Thank
taking care
you.
of us after our
I'm
normal.
sure they were happy to catch you guys.
I don't think they even realize what we're doing. They do know we're working though because we're sitting there with our laptops
I don't
open.
know.
Here,
I
look at
think
those
they
guys.
thought
They're
you
probably
were
pissed about guys sitting there working. They
dating.
want to get you in and out.
But yeah, but we order. I mean, it's not
No,
like
it's
we're like
fine.
yeah.
They
so.
loved us.
Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you back on Friday. And by the way, we have an author coming on next week, Ben Hamilton. He's a former history teacher who finally
Speaking
snapped.
of
January 6th.
Speaking
Yeah.
of January 6th.
He's the author of the Chasing History Project. Interesting gentleman. Lives in a van. Spends most of his time searching for interesting events.
Whoa.
Guy lives in a van.
It's gonna be cool. It's
He's
gonna be
driving
cool
his
to
van
read.
right here.
Great job,
That's
Steve.
like
You
my
found a guy in a
dream.
van.
He lives in a van, and he's going to be our guest.
Down by
on
the
Lock Pod.
river.
That's right.
That might be more interesting than his history project.
Hey,
He's
Lock
an
Pod.
author. Lives in a van.
We light the way
That's
for
right.
you.
Lock Pod lights the way. So that's why we're the Midwest Most Dangerous Podcast. Season 10, Episode 2 is done. We'll be back on Friday. Thanks, everybody, for listening.